Toys R Us once ruled childhood, then collapsed under debt and bad deals. This is how one partnership and $5 billion in leverage killed a retail giant. Once upon a time, every American child dreamed of this magical place. It was a kingdom of pure joy and endless wonder. Geoffrey the giraffe stood tall as the mascot of dreams, welcoming millions of families into aisles stacked high with colorful imagination. But in 2017, this massive kingdom suddenly crumbled to the ground, crushed under the suffocating weight of $5 billion debt. The laughter faded into silence as shelves went bare. How did the largest toy retailer on the planet fail to save itself? Was it the internet? Was it changing habits? Or was there a darker financial force pulling the strings behind the curtains? Thousands of employees lost their jobs, and generations of memories were locked away behind closed doors of empty, abandoned retail stores. To understand this tragedy, we must rewind the clock to when this giant was not a victim, but a ruthless conqueror. In the 1980s and 90s, Toys R Us was known as a category killer, a title they earned through dominance. They built gigantic supermarkets dedicated entirely to toys. No one else could compete with their massive selection and aggressive low pricing. Small local toy shops vanished, unable to match the scale. Toys R Us was the Amazon of its time, destroying competition. Manufacturers bowed to their demands. If you wanted to sell a toy in America, you had to go through Geoffrey first. Walking into a store felt like entering a different world. It was a physical experience that no catalog could ever replicate. Profits soared and stock prices climbed higher every year. The executives believed their reign over the toy industry would last forever. But success breeds arrogance. While they focused on building more physical stores, a digital revolution was quietly starting in a garage. The internet arrived, changing how people shopped. Toys R Us saw it not as a threat, but as a minor distraction. Their early attempts at e-commerce were disastrous disasters. They could not handle the logistics of shipping individual toys to customer homes. During the holiday season of 1999, they failed to deliver gifts on time, leaving thousands of children crying on Christmas. Desperate to fix their reputation and logistics, they looked for a partner. They found a rising star named Amazon.com. This decision would go down in history as one of the most fatal strategic errors ever made in the retail world. In the year 2000, Toys R Us signed a 10-year exclusive contract to be the sole toy supplier on Amazon. It seemed like a smart move. Amazon handles the tech and shipping, while Toys R Us handles the buying and inventory. But in reality, they had just outsourced their future. They stopped developing their own website and relied entirely on a competitor. Every customer who bought a toy gave their data to Amazon, not Toys R Us. They were training their own assassin. Amazon learned everything about the toy market. They saw what sold best, what customers wanted, and exactly how to price it. Amazon began allowing other third-party sellers to list toys. The exclusivity clause was broken, and competition flooded the platform instantly. Toys R Us sued Amazon and eventually won, allowing them to terminate the deal. But the damage was already irreversible. They had lost years of crucial development time. While Walmart and Target improved their websites, Toys R Us had nothing ready. They tried to build a new online presence from scratch, but the digital landscape had evolved far beyond their outdated capabilities. Parents now preferred the convenience of clicking a button. The magical experience of the physical store was becoming a tedious chore. Competitors slashed prices ruthlessly. Toys R Us, with its expensive real estate, could not match the low margins of online sellers. Caught between the efficiency of Amazon and the low prices of Walmart, the toy giant began to lose its market share. Revenues started to flatten. The company needed to pivot, invest in technology, and reimagine its stores for the 21st century. But transformation requires capital. And suddenly, the company found itself the target of Wall Street investors looking for a quick profit. This leads us to the final nail in the coffin: a financial maneuver that would drain the life from the company. In 2005, 3 private equity firms took Toys R Us private in a leveraged buyout deal worth billions. A leveraged buyout means buying a company using mostly borrowed money, then putting that debt onto the company's own balance sheet. Overnight, Toys R Us went from being a healthy company to one carrying over $5 billion in massive financial debt. Instead of using profits to improve stores or build a better website, they had to pay $400 million in interest. Imagine paying $400 million every single year just to service debt, before spending a penny on hiring or products. The stores began to look tired and dirty. Carpets were stained, shelves were disorganized, and there was no money for maintenance. Staffing was cut to save money. Customer service suffered because there were never enough employees to help the frustrated parents shopping. It was a death spiral. Bad stores led to fewer sales, which led to less money, which led to even worse stores. Toy makers like Mattel and Hasbro got nervous. They started demanding stricter payment terms, fearing Toys R Us would go bankrupt. Entering the holiday season of 2017, the company needed a miracle. But the debt load finally became too heavy to bear. They filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection, hoping to restructure the debt and keep the stores open for future generations. But creditors had lost faith. The decision was made to liquidate everything. All stores in the US and UK would close. Going out of business signs appeared in windows. Families flocked to the stores one last time, not for joy, but for bargains. Children cried as they walked through empty aisles. The magic had officially died, killed by financial engineering rather than lack of demand. A viral photo showed Jeffrey the giraffe waving goodbye with a suitcase. It became the symbol of the end of an era. Toys R Us did not die because kids stopped playing. They died because they were financially strangled and digitally left behind. The deal with Amazon taught the business world a harsh lesson. Never outsource your core competency to your biggest potential rival. The private equity buyout proves that loading a retail company with debt in a time of transition is a suicide mission. Retail is about experience. When you stop investing in the customer to pay off bankers, you lose your reason to exist. Today, the playgrounds are empty. Target and Walmart sell toys, but they lack the wonder and magic that Jeffrey once provided. The brand attempts to make small comebacks, but the empire is gone. It serves as a warning to all market leaders. No matter how big you are, if you refuse to adapt to the digital age, you will eventually become a history lesson. From a category killer to a bankrupt shell, the story of Toys R Us is a tragedy of missed opportunities. When you prioritize short-term financial engineering over long-term value creation, you are building a castle on sand that will wash away. Thank you for watching Business Failure Lab. Subscribe for more deep dives into corporate disasters. See you in the next video.